Welcome back to Social Call. On this week's show, we're going to be dealing with the topic of online dating. We all have those stories of misfortunate dates that never really transpired. But fret no more, we've got some friendly advice on how to secure that perfect date. And coming up on today's show, we have an actual live date. But before that, on a slightly more serious note, we'll have a look back on the LGBT dating before legislation. Now, let's take a look at some online dating media. Ireland's top 3 dating apps are Badoo, Tinder and Scout. And for the more desktop inclined, the top 2 dating websites are elitesingles.com and match.ie. But we're going to focus on apps this show, and more importantly, the one that seems to have taken the nation and the world by storm, Tinder. Tinder has 150,000 plus Irish users, and the odds of finding the one are only 1 in 100. Most of the Irish users are under the age of 25, with the gender balance pretty even. But what is it about Tinder? What's the magic formula that has made it so successful? Many put it down to the easy-use interface. It's perfect for a casual browse, and its casual, non-committal approach to dating is perfect for that millennial age group with whom it's most successful. Tinder was created in 2012 and has generated an epic 50 million users worldwide, with an average of 12 million matches a day. The most distinguishing feature, though, is the iconic swiping technique. Originally, the swipe wasn't supposed to be in the app at all. The designer Johnny Badin snuck it in a few weeks after the release. He wanted to mimic real-life interactions with a card stack, so you actually swipe the preferred profiles in the direction of the matches pile. It fitted with the simplistic theme they wanted to give them to the fun shortcut they had been looking for. Who knew that something so simple could make such a difference? But you have your Tinder profile, you're just not having much luck with it? Need some help? You're in luck. We've done the research and we're giving you the tips. Number 1, be open about what you want. Make your profile 70% about you and 30% about what you're looking for. 2, keep it simple. Don't use overly complicated language and make sure to highlight your good points. Self-confidence is beautiful. Number 3, show your sense of humor. It's attractive. It's not difficult to understand why. And number 4, have a group photo so people know you have friends. At the same time, don't only have group photos. It's Tinder, not Where's Wally. And number 5, according to researchers, a head tilt and a smile make a person seem friendlier and more attractive. So, it can't hurt to try. Later on, we'll meet Kathy, who put these tips to the test, and we'll see how she got on. But for now, we're looking at the LGBT community and how things have changed for them in recent years and what life was like for them before it was even legalised. It all started with the Buggery Act of 1533, which brought homosexuality from being a sin to being a crime punishable by death. Then in 1912, a Criminal Law Act update again allowing for flogging to be used as a punishment. From here, we move into more recent times when in 1980, David Norris fought against Irish law prohibiting homosexual sex acts, bringing it all the way to the European Court of Human Rights in 1988, where it was overruled by the Irish Supreme Court. This resulted in Ireland being forced to change the law in 1993. Ireland began a more accepted approach in 1988, which the civil service being prohibited from discrimination on grounds of sexual orientation. From here, progress continued until we eventually became the first country to legalise same-sex marriage by popular vote, and we officially moved into the 21st century. Here's a quick clip showing Ireland's transition from the darker days to where we are now.
David, are homosexuals sick people?
No, indeed they're not. We're neither sick, ill, pathological, neurotic, or any of these emotive terms that are occasionally used by people who are not well informed on the subject to conceal their own prejudices and to allege that we are ill. I don't feel ill. I hope I don't look it.
And had you ever felt before that you were somehow different or strange? Or?
Yes, right through my teens I felt different. But I didn't feel that I was lesbian or gay. I just felt different.
The Court of Human Rights had already condemned the 19th century laws penalising homosexuality as they used to apply in Northern Ireland. The key question to be answered in today's judgment, read by Court President Judge Riesdahl, was whether Senator Norris could claim to be himself a victim of a human rights violation. The judgment in Senator Norris's favour was given by 8 votes to 6, with the Irish member of the court, Mr Justice Brian Walsh, among those dissenting.
And I know that Irish people are committed to justice, to social justice. The Catholic Church is committed to social justice.
Let him finish.
And I think that the Irish people have no respect at all for bigotry, and they're totally opposed to discrimination. And I think most Irish people will welcome, when they see it, they'll welcome the change in the law, and they'll welcome a type of a society where there's room for everybody, for travellers, for lesbians and gay men, for people with disabilities, for everybody.
Líana vótaí a bhábhar an tógra, milliún, 201,607. Votes in favour of the proposal, 1,201,607.
But the road here wasn't as smooth as it sounds. Here to talk to us about this is Carl Hayden, who has been a long-time gay rights activist. Carl, thank you so much for joining me here in studio today. So we see from the VT that Ireland's actually come a long way in the last 100 years, and even, I suppose you could say, in the last decade. What is your impression on this?
Well, certainly if you had asked me, 20, 30 years ago when I first got involved in the gay rights movement, I would not have thought that we'd be where we are today. Even as recently as 10 years ago, when I would be asked by people if I ever saw the opportunity for me to be able to marry in a same-sex relationship, I didn't even see it at that stage. So it is quite significant where we've come from, and it says a lot about Irish society, how people have kind of grown up with the issues, and they've worked them through, and they see that what's really important at the end of the day is that people in our society are equal.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like this is the present day that it seems that the gay youngsters, it seems to be quite easy for them to come out. Was that the case for you, like back in the day?
Certainly there's a difference between then and now, but I'm not sure that it's ever that easy to come out as lesbian or gay. Certainly something as intimate as your sexual orientation is a really difficult issue for people to talk about. It takes a process to go through to get to the point where you feel comfortable to be able to do that. But the one thing I always say to people, young LGBT people, is that considering the amount of time it took you to get to the point where you were comfortable and able to tell people about your sexual orientation, you have to give people that amount of time as well. So, because they have to process the information that you've given them, they have to kind of work out where that puts them in the relationship between the two of you. And so, you have to be patient with people as well.
And what was the scene like for you, the LGBT scene, when you came out? What was it? How was it?
Well, I came out initially in 1983. Now, when I say I came out, sometimes there's a process of coming out for people. So, for me, my first coming out, if you like, was actually making contact onto the gay scene at that stage. But actually coming out to family came later in life. Okay. Coming out onto the scene, it was scary. You were a bit nervous about people discovering and people finding out, making your way to any of the gay bars or clubs that there were at the time. There was always the opportunity or always the possibility that somebody could see you going into one of the bars or whatever, and then maybe decide to attack you because of that, because you were gay.
Oh my goodness. And like, in regards into your family, how was that? How was your parents about you coming out?
I have to say I was quite lucky. Maybe it's unfair to say lucky, but I was fortunate in the sense that my family were quite accepting of it overall. My mother, who was really, I suppose, the first person that I wanted to come out to or tell that I was gay. She was quite traditional in terms of her religious beliefs, Roman Catholic beliefs. And so for her, it was a little bit difficult at first, but eventually she worked it out. The rest of the family were quite good. I mean, one of the interesting things that happened to me was with one of my cousins who, when I told her that I was gay, actually said, "Oh, sure, we always knew that you were gay," and that could be a bit frustrating because you're thinking, well, if you knew, then why didn't you do something or say something to make it the process a little bit easier?
Of course,
that I knew I was growing up in an environment which would be accepting and open.
And have you ever actually been a victim of, your sexuality? Have you ever kind of witnessed any discrimination throughout this kind of process?
I personally, on a day-to-day basis, no, because I think what happens is that people have a stereotype image of gay men, and I don't quite fit that stereotype image. So I don't come across a feminist, as far as I'm aware, anyway. I'm stocky. I'm quite able to look after myself in that regard. I've had experiences though in other areas where, say for example, during Gay Pride on one of the marches, we'd have people on the side of the street who might be threatening or throwing stuff or things like that. I've had a death threat made to me during a live radio programme in Dublin.
Do you care to share?
Actually, looking back, I handled it very badly.
Okay.
Because when the person made the threat, I said, well, you know where the radio station is, you know what time the program's over, which is completely the wrong thing to do. Best to ignore people like that. That's usually the best thing to do. Of course.
And do you find that you had any friends that were not as strong like yourself, that were they got more hit on a lot more?
Yes, I'm sorry to say there were friends of mine who, because of their physical stature or their their sense of being able to stand up for themselves, were victimised, were picked out and bullied, were beaten up. People, who on the street where they live, it got out that they were gay, and so they had teenagers congregating around their home, throwing stones, calling out names. People to the point where it's not just the physical effect of the bullying, but it's the emotional effect, and people then who couldn't deal with it and unfortunately took their own lives.
And would you, if there was a youngster that was going to come up to you now and wanted some advice, what would be the main things that you would give them, about coming out?
Don't ask me is the first thing I would say. No. I suppose the thing really is that don't make any move or commitment to identifying yourself as anything in particular until you know in yourself that you're sure this is who you are. Be clear about who it is that you're going to tell first. Try and find somebody, whether it be somebody outside of your own family, like a friend or whatever, someone who you feel that you can actually confide that information in, and that they won't break the confidence of what you tell them. And then that gives you the opportunity to start kind of get used to telling people. And then when you're ready, when you feel you're ready, then to tell your parents. But I think, to be honest with you, and from my experience, most mothers in particular know if their sons are gay.
Oh, okay.
I think they do. Yeah. And I think really the coming out process is just a confirmation of what they already know.
Right, okay. And then what do you feel then about the future in the LGBT community? Because I know since the legislation, we're after seeing a huge explosion in this kind of field. So what do you think is going to be the next thing to happen?
I think eventually what we'll get to is a point in our society where someone's sexual orientation is nothing out of the ordinary. That, it's just, okay, so they're gay, that's it, Now that we've introduced the concept of marriage, we've actually gone past the concept, it's actually there available for people. That will make it a more day-to-day situation for people. And I think that's where we'll get to, that it's no longer a thing, it's nothing special for me to have to come into a studio and talk about what it was like to be gay. Exactly.
And you know what, Carl? It was absolutely fantastic to have you here in studio, and thank you once again. Next up on the show, we have our live date. Last week, our friend Kathy put her Tinder tips to the test in preparation for this week's show. She modified her Tinder profile using the tips we gave her to great success. Kathy hit it off with one of her matches, Paul, and we set them up on their first date. But will they still be swiping right after the date? Let's take a look and find out. Hi.
Jessica,
yeah?
Paul. It's a nice hotel. I've been here before.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really see, but I'm sure, yeah, it's lovely.
You need glasses?
Well, yeah.
It's kind of something big to forget, though, isn't it?
They're my coat. This is fun. Do you have any allergies?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
You?
I'm allergic to dust.
So how long have you been on Tinder?
2 years on and off. I think I was about 19 when I joined. Oh, I'm 22 now. So 3 years. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, about a year. You're lonely and desperate.
Well, some people are, and you just have to be honest about it.
True. Are you lonely?
No, I have a rabbit. Like a pet rabbit now, like, not the other one.
Oh, God.
Like, there was this guy on the bus today, and he sounded like he was half American and half Australian. And I couldn't figure out where he's from, but I don't think he was actually from anywhere.
If I heard that now, an American and an Australian hang on, I'd be like, just like, you're either Australian or American, just pick one and stick with it.
Okay, that's nice.
Can I say you look much more pretty in person than on your pictures?
Thank you. They're all photoshopped though.
But still, it's still a good thing then.
Do you take all your Tinder dates here?
No.
Can I get a beef burger, please?
I was going to go with the pork until I had bacon on the burger. I was like, no, I'll go with the pork, please. It's International Women's Day, but that's it. Like, I was like, there's nothing else going on.
That's not a major thing.
Well, not really. Like, it's like Paddy's Day. It's like a day to me now at this stage. I was born in Greece, moved here when I was 3.
What's this have to do with Hitler? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rawr.
Did you go rawr when you put on the song?
Yeah.
Well, you dinosaur, like rawr.
I really want to go see a psychic just to see what they say about when I'm going to die. Oh, did my food fall off the plate? Yeah, it did. Are you done eating?
Yeah, are you?
Yeah. You said
ladies
I was to follow you.
Yes, and then I got up.
Joining us in studio today is Kathy's date, Paul, to tell us how he thinks their date went. So, Paul, looked like an interesting evening. How was it?
It was quite interesting, anyways, I can tell you that much.
And do you reckon it was easier to connect after speaking online before the date?
Yes, so I felt that getting the chance to just talk to somebody before you meet up with them is vital, because it just makes you feel more relaxed and less awkward, and it doesn't feel as much of a first date. It's just like meeting up with someone that you kind of already know, and it gives you something to talk about as well, like if you have the same interests and hobbies and stuff like that.
And do you reckon that Kathy's profile was like a true representation of who she really was when you met her on the day?
Well, not really. At first on the profile and even talking to her, she seemed very relaxed and very easygoing and stuff, and she just, on the date, she seemed very intense and very pushy on her interests and stuff like that, and it was, to me, it wasn't something I enjoyed.
So you were kind of taken back by her personality change, like from what you'd seen online to actually the real life?
Yeah, I did. It was just like her interests and stuff like that didn't sync up with mine, and it just wasn't right on the date.
And what was that actually like attracted you to her in the first place?
Well, she is very pretty, like, and we have a few interests that are the same, and at first we were talking, we were having a bit of fun and stuff, and then when we decided to meet up, it just kind of went downhill from there then.
Right, so when you say like interests like your two interests kind of like combined, like what interests did you have that she had?
So we're both geeks, which we established fairly early, which was kind of strange to see. Like, it's just like someone to openly admit they're a geek is kind of strange. Like, so it was refreshing to see that. But then she also has other interests. Like, we both have dogs as pets and a few other small interests as well. Like, but overall, our main interests were too separated, and it just wasn't right.
So apart from all that then, what was actually like the best part of the date for you? Like what did you find that was really kind of strong about the date?
The food.
Okay, the food. It looked like you were really getting into that. Was it, what, did you have pork, was it?
I did,
yeah,
pork.
It looked good actually,
It was. But the date, all in all, it was good. But just first dates though, they're always awkward. You never feel fully relaxed around somebody on a first date. It's always first impressions and stuff like that. And it's very hard to try and make sure you give a good first impression. So trying to be relaxed and stuff like that is vital, and just make sure the conversation flows and it's just light and breezy and fun and stuff. It's just very important.
And what did you find was the most awkward part of the date for you?
Most awkward part is when she was talking about International Women's Day, and like just the fact that I was trying to make the point that it's not just one day that it should be recognised, it should be all the time. It should be like women's rights and equality and stuff. And I don't think she picked up on the fact that I was trying to make it seem like I don't need just one day to support it, like I support it all the time.
Oh, very good, well said. And she said, I don't have my glasses, I can't see. How did you feel when she said that?
I just thought to myself, like, why would you not bring your glasses or put contacts in? And just kind of put it into a very like, oh no moment. I was just got kind of weird as well because she was pouring herself a glass of water and she spilled some of it and stuff like that, and she just got very clumsy with some of the things. It was funny and kind of cute to see.
And come here, so what do you reckon? Would you like to see her again?
Not really, because we both have different personalities.
Okay, well...
So, unfortunately.
Okay, well that's it, I suppose. Unfortunately, Kathy couldn't be with us in studio today, but we were able to record a quick interview with her after the date to get her impression on how it went. Let's take a look.
I thought in comparison to talking online, it was like really awkward and stiff and unnatural. There's just something really weird about online dating when you meet someone for the first time and it's like you already know them but you don't know them, and you're like, oh, this is kind of uncomfortable and it feels really set up and everything. And yeah, I don't know how you get over that. Like, yeah, but in general I thought it was okay. Like, it wasn't the worst date I'd been on, but it wasn't the best either. Like, and it was fine. Like, I don't really know what to say about it because, like, he was nice. Like, I didn't like him, but like he was okay. So yeah. Like, would I see him again? No.
Well, there you have it, Paul. I'm sorry. Something tells me she's not up for date number 2. That's all we have time for this week, but next week we'll be back to tackle another social situation and give you advice on how to improve your social life. As always, I have been your host, Caroline Keane, and this has been Social Call.